Oh man. Hey, hey, chill, chill, chill. Chill, chill, chill. Chill, chill, chill. We're going to add this to the Final Fantasy playlist. Waiting to see if anybody trickles in here before I start. Alright. Looks like we're getting ready to start then. We left off, I think, before something cool's about to happen. So let's see. We're going to play this in between World Cup matches. I can't believe I already played this game 23 hours total. It says I'm 68% of the way through, according to PlayStation Analytics.
Enemies on the rooftop! Kill them!
Can you see him anywhere?
Oh, snap.
It must be one of the Dragoon's pets.
I think it has something in store for us.
Get ready to move.
There's a chance I won't be able to play Halo.
How come? Like you won't have the money, or hold on. What was that? Doodles! Shut up! Get over here.
Stronger than mine.
Yeah.
Beautiful and an energy efficient.
Self-plasma, self-liver, self-pump. I'm going to need $5,000 and a 6-string bench.
Because my power supply might be broken.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, that would suck, wouldn't it? Doodles! Hold on a second. Something happened. I gotta fix this.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm throwing the cat out. Yep. Fuck y'all. Fuck your cat.
All that matters.
You knocked the damn gate over again. I've been told time and time again. Stop knocking the fucking gate over.
Anytime that you want, buy these tech companies. It is what it is. And I'm joining.
Where you at?
So I'm going to need a $5,000. This is 4th of July, too, so there's nothing more American than capitalism there. So I'm willing to eat that, all right? So go ahead and just go ahead and drop that in the chat, okay? And I'll be waiting. Trust me, guys, it's a great deal. No, obviously, I'm joking. Welcome, guys. Once again, welcome to the stream. I hope all kids okay. But yet, there is a actual new $5,000 new handheld. Yes, it is true. It is 100% true. So we're going to talk about that. Actually,
That was weird. I thought the cat knocked over the gate because it sounded like the sound. I went back there, the gate's not there. The cat's not even in the house.
That's what mine is. Wherever you are,
Oh! Come here, Doodles. Fair duties. Yeah, and that's a lot closer than I wanted it to be.
Alan Wake
Got 'em.
2 FF16 and Spider-Man 2 were the highlights of 2023.
probably a big price. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, 2023. I mean, my highlights: this game, Spider-Man 2. You know, Fire Emblem Engage, Mario Wonder, Tears of the Kingdom, and Starfield. I'd go to say it's better than 2007.
But yeah, you can't trust random retailers.
There you are. I didn't know
It's either better than 2007 or it's just as good as 2007. 2007 had Mario Galaxy,
It's like never.
BioShock, Mass Effect,
What now?
Assassin's Creed,
Gotta wait.
Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, and Halo 3.
What's the $5,000 cost? What does it matter what it's called? What does it matter what it's called, and what does it matter if they? It's a $5,300 system. Because not their called that's what I call it. I call it the railroad company. I call it the railroad. The big red nose. It's the yeah, and like another thing, shout out to my man Super for the gifted membership. Hey yo, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. But, thank you guys so much.
We must leave. Now, Grace, I beg of you.
This is not what he wanted.
Love you, Doodles.
Forgive me, but I must put a stop to this.
Your Grace!
Information campaign on Twitter, and I'm putting together you guys all know, you guys know I just put on my channel. So, I'm putting together a flyer on Twitter and get Want to know why there's so many lies about me? It's because of Twitter. Twitter is the
Where's
main
little
source
man?
of low-grade.
Little man's laying on the bed. He was actually in the chair with me during the soccer match, but he was on the footrest.
But Switch in particular, game cards in particular, first party games in particular, prices of games in particular, that is the main source. It is Twitter and people lying. It's not even like they're misinformed, they're lying. They're simply lying. Or they want to lie. Or they're just like I can say. So that's what's happening. I wanted to get to like people think it's just, oh well, it's bad marketing, or it's this, or it's that. It's like no, it's just simply people lying. That's really what it comes down to. It's just liars. And people that continue to lie. This right here proves it. I know Brian put up this on Twitter and says in replies to this thing. This guy put up this thing. Put up this thing saying this is why physical media still matters. Both in the cases of the Cardinals start playing. It takes seconds, just like it did on my Game Boy. Buy it, borrow it, swap it. Brand, it just works.
What do we do now then?
So put that up on
Destroy
Twitter.
the heart.
And the amount of people
We might come
that are
back.
saying that it's a lie,
As soon as the flames die down,
that it's a game
the Imperials and the Dalmex will move in.
This
This
guy
may
right
be
here,
our only chance.
Hellwire,
Empire is
Hellwire,
gone for now. You should get as far
Zorro,
away as you
88,
can,
live.
Goose.
Switches cartridges aren't loaded with the game because they license to run said game. That's a lie.
The Navy is not in the ledge. I can't
That's
do
a
that.
lie.
If
They
you're
never said Donkey
staying
Kong Bananas to
Thor man,
a lie.
I packed everything up before I made a run for it. So, if there's out his name,
That's a
just
lie.
ask.
Donkey Kong Bananas is not a game.
Well, I won't be giving it away for free. None would never forgive us if I did.
So the first insert download the cartridge key. It requires a full download. A lot. People are just lying over and over and over. They can simply just Google search.
Sekiro and Kingdom Hearts 3 are the best games of 2019.
I did like Kingdom Hearts 3.
It's labeled a game key card. It is labeled that.
2019, huh?
And these people know
It's time to
they're
freeze
simply
storm
just
from
spreading
the
lies. They're just lying.
I know
Flat out.
Mario Maker 2 came out in 2019.
But remember,
What?
Thomas is still out there.
Well, we gotta
And I
keep
dare say
saying
we'll be seeing
that's a
you
lie
again
and letting
before the
people
night
know
is
it's done. It's not even about defending, it's about the truth. That's simply what it is. It is about the truth. The truth is more important than defending or anything. Give people the truth. If it's a game key card, it will be labeled a game key card on the box. It will be labeled that. You know? So and it's all
Yeah, I don't think 2019 was a very strong year, to be completely honest. But I think in 2019 I had the most fun with Mario Maker 2.
We'll have to find our own path.
liars.
Which, you know, you could argue, does that even count as like a game that you could measure for a game of the year? Because fans make the levels. There are pre-built levels, but it's mostly fans that make levels. I think it does qualify as a game that could qualify for Game of the Year. It was my 2019 Game of the Year anyway. Millions of 2D Mario levels at my fingertips. People may be tired of Mario Maker at this point, or not interested in Mario Maker 3. But the concept of being able to play millions of Mario levels, potentially, online, and also the potential to make dozens of levels or hundreds of levels online and upload them, or even whole worlds, and build your own game, was very good. And I think we do need a Mario Maker 3. I think we need one for the Switch 2 that can last the entire Switch 2 generation. I don't want it more than a 3D Mario. I don't even necessarily want it more than a Mario Wonder 2. But I think we could use a Mario Maker 3.
Imagine Mario Maker 3 has Coop.
Want to go a little further back?
Well, there's that, and well, there's always the idea I've considered. What about Mario Maker 3D?
Pretty much all of it.
And I just don't know. That's so difficult to say if they could actually do that and it would work. Because a 3D game is a lot more complex than a 2D game. But you could absolutely do a Mario Maker 3 that's 2D. Add the Mario Wonder. What was it? The Mario Wonder style as well.
Definitely back to that PlayStation 3. That's where Microsoft is so innovative. Confident of this start to download stuff.
So, but it looks like we're not getting. Here's what's frustrating: we're not getting a 2D Mario game, a new one in 2026. We got Mario Wonder, the Switch 2 edition. We're not getting a 3D Mario in 2026. So, in 2027, if they give us a 2D Mario instead of a 3D Mario, I'm gonna be pissed. I mean, I don't think they would give us a 2D Mario and a 3D Mario in the same year. Even though they easily could, I don't think they will. The 3D Mario has to come first. We've waited long enough.
About $3,000. $3,000. Buy how much Switch 2 you buy? You buy like 6 Switch 2s at $500. You buy like 6 of them. You literally buy 6 of them. One of them. I personally feel that that's a better option. Switch 2 is a better option than this. Buying 6 Switch 2s and giving them away to family and friends and having multiplayer sessions will give you a lot more joy than whatever this thing is. I can guarantee you. Or you can buy 2 Switch 2s, and that'll be $1,000, and then you can spend the rest of the money that you have, because you'll still have $2,000 left, so the rest of the money on all the first-party games. Pretty much buy every first-party game and buy third-party games for $1. You'll have enough money for you and your family or your friend or whatever to enjoy and have a good time. You can buy like 10 and Switch 2s.
Yeah, some gaming PC handhelds are selling for $3,000 to $5,000. The most expensive one's $5,300.
What is he doing?
Keeping the helmet occupied.
Joshua!
I'm sorry. Don't get everything. Don't get it. This guy's a women is a scammer, and AI companies are scammers, and I'll tell you this right now. Not anything like this. I'm listening. You buy whatever you want to. You buy whatever. I want to say this. But I'll say this. This will not lead to anything good. This will not lead to anything good for the consumer. If you want gaming to die, you will support this. This is a direct link to gaming dying. This type of predatory, chaos, women, race,
I got my dog with me.
it's not working. I don't care. It's not working.
That's nice.
It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working at all. Trust me, I talked to my pastor the other day. He gave me a vision and he told me, hey, this is not working. Okay? I got a message from the man above that said, this is not working. I don't care what it is. This type of practice, when it crash it, the industry will punish if this type of nonsense is supported. Just will. Shinru will.
What was that?
Kill us all.
The fucking Ion Neo $5,300 handheld.
There he is.
Jeez. Woohoo! Doodles.
They're heading for the heart.
Okay.
We got what? I said 1% towards the native, buddies, experts, April, Max, Ultimates, 7, 5, 6, 7, 1 square, Penguins, Super X, 5, 7, 5, Naked, Winter, Super, Ultimate, Love, Second, X, 5, 5, 5, 5, 3, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 3, votes, extra, the fight, handheld back, right next, that's awesome. So, I did not win. Cycle 5 on a button. Arcade. Oh, yes, Color gold. Set up. Damage. Oh, speed. Oh, speed. Switch. Trouble.
Get him. This one.
Like I said before, in all seriousness, it has become ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is getting absolutely ridiculous. And it needs to be curtailed. It needs to be curtailed. It needs to be, we need to put a tabak on this. Honestly, the misinformation and the nonsense is getting too much. These companies are taking advantage of us, and it's starting to get insane. It's starting to get insane. Set up. Anybody that's how important will stick very. No, they was there. No, they was parents. I do want to say fight first. So yeah, no fans are making out one that. I don't think yeah. That part out. 3,000. Oh my God, Lord, here's 3,000 dollars. And dog walks everything. I'll go buy a dog. Okay? I will go buy a freaking golden retriever. Okay? And I will breed it. And I will make more money. Okay? If you got go get some golden retriever. Okay? And go ahead and breed it. Breed it up. Okay? And go ahead and sell it. Because now that will make you way more. That's a way more profitable. I'll take that money and I'll buy a golden retriever. And I'll buy this and I'll bring it and I'll sell it. I got it. I'll go walk. I'll go get it. You know? Shout out another today. This one. So much. All the help with us. All the tracking. A 5 get that. 5 big hand. Done.
I came in that way, I thought.
Yeah. A golden retriever costs anywhere between $1,000 and $5,000. So it depends on where you are and just back there. But yeah, it's not like I'm here bring we'll get you. But I mean, I've seen them for around 1,500 in my area, 1,100. Some people saw the movie. It depends on like the desperation of the film. Owner is more desperate than self out here.
Are those the council chambers?
Actually, something like
How are they still standing?
So,
I don't know.
yeah, I mean, if I could have one back. Well, I had my sister bought one. She got me from a big bowl.
Did I get turned around again?
Some type of.
Yeah, I got turned around again. God dang it. Doodles, calm down, duties. It's okay, girl. It's alright, girl. It's alright.
Hey, what's up, Ron Gamer? Welcome to the stream. 10 dogs right there. Well, I'm not going to name up my dog.
We had freaking, the watch time wasn't great on the soccer match, but we did gain one new sub. So we're back up to 401.
Clive. He's a survivor.
We're getting close.
Hey, 10 dogs, come over here. It's an actual name. Not a name.
The online discourse, let's be honest, the backlash against what PlayStation has announced of no more physical media is being felt all throughout the internet and potentially the world. It's breaking news, not just in our little bubble, but it's mainstream news on TV. And rightfully so, because this is PlayStation saying that you own nothing. They're positioning the PlayStation 6 as a machine that you will buy, and then you will only be able to buy games from them. Except the games you buy, you do not own in the slightest. They can take those games away whenever they want for any reason, including things like music. And since they control everything, right, there will be no competition. They have no control and no ownership. I'm sorry, but I choose to own my games. So, to me, this won't fly, and it seems that it doesn't fly. I mean, we got well-known comedians that are taking a swing and explaining this. We have French politicians, you know, it's bad when politicians believe that they can take advantage of this. We have Hideo Kojima's tweets, 2021, coming to haunt us. And we even have Domino's Pizza UK, which I guess go off Domino's. And despite that, there's plenty of people out there saying that actually this is good. The rage towards this is performative. The people that actually care about this media, and that we were already living in a more digital future. And the amount of misunderstandings that exist about what ownership is, including digital goods, is and I think we need to make things clear because this is a critical moment in the history of video games. We've seen it happen before. PlayStation has backed off some of their crazy ideas in the past just because of public outcry. They lost the PS3 generation due to hubris and overpricing that console, just like Xbox lost the Xbox One generation because of their DRM unfist policies, and eventually pulled them into us, to the customer, did what we asked of them, because it is so important more than ever to repeat that they are nothing without us. They need us to exist. But among the latest news and headlines of IGN reporting, this might already be reversible. And PlayStation has taken steps already to get into PlayStation in the future, gutting half of the entire production facility for discs and repurposing it for microbites. That what is happening here is too big of a change for them to fight for them. So as the news is breaking, this are covering the fact that maybe there's nothing to be done. I want to stand here and say that there is plenty to do. There's more to this than the articles online. Plenty. Doesn't matter which articles. Except this one. Except this one I Polygon is for you, I'll take Polygon. Partnership 2. PlayStation 1. And we might not be able to change PlayStation's body. But despite what they want for us, to create an environment where we have no control, no choice, we have a choice. And we have a way to fight back. So today I want to talk about digital leadership, about why you have alternatives, why, if we make enough noise, this is going to hurt your bottom line much more than they think. There's absolutely zero benefits, zero good things here for customers moving forward. So we either need to
Come on, let's go!
find alternatives that we can. So hi, I'm Mike. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. You're looking fantastic. I really do think that in the face of adversity we rise up, and I can see it on you, that's for sure. I want to thank you guys for the support on the Facebook videos. They mean the world. And also, Ironside Computer, new channel partner, they are also super happy with your overwhelming support. If you like the video at any point, hit the like button because that helps it spread, reach more people. Here, don't subscribe yet. Make sure that what I do is worth it. I earn that subscribe. It's coming. Now look, a lot of what this video is talking about the things that people misunderstand and are trying to make us believe. There is a lot of confusion about how harmful this is. Partly constructed in a way to still be easy to understand without one friend that really does it. And the first point that I want to tackle are people saying that to boycott PlayStation for no physical media and no ownership of our games, we should also boycott PC games, right? Because those are the this one. No, not at all. PC is actually today the bastion of game preservation. PCs are the thing that allow us to guarantee that games are preserved beyond potential rot it's just and when it comes to modern games, DRM on PC is not only a choice made by developers and not one being forced by the platform there is none. And that would be the case for PlayStation 6. That DRM that is now present in games because you don't own them and PlayStation can take them away from you, that's enforced by them, not necessarily by people own the game. On PC, games that have on Steam is because they choose to have it. Steam is a platform that is designed to work offline indefinitely and leave you access to all of your games no matter what, and even to function for your games that are on Steam. I don't know. I use Steam to play most of my emulators because I really like the way that Steam is supporting. This means that there's a large number of games that you can buy on Steam that you can play without Steam, that you can play without ever using Steam, and if it disappeared tomorrow, the game would still be playable. All you have to do is take the game itself, take that folder, put it on drive somewhere, keep it safe, and you can double-click an executable and play it. When I know that I can keep a hard copy of a game saved somewhere and I can play it off of an executable on a thumb drive, that's mine, and nobody can be able to take it away from me. But this is just how we're talking about Steam. The most important part about the PC platform is Steam is not the PC game provider. You can get your PC games from many different places. Sure, the obvious one here is good old games, completely DRM-free, do whatever you want with your game. But the fact that there is a competition in the PC market, be that from Epic Games or Amazon Games Launcher or whatever other launcher you want to find, means that not only does it incentivize competition within the space, the open nature of the platform itself means that there will always be efforts for game preservation and game ownership on it. The ability to continue to play your games no matter what service goes down. And if you don't like any of the options there, or nobody is providing you an adequate option for that, we know that the PC community is always trying to keep games available and alive no matter what, even through abandonware sites. Ownership in this case is about you retaining access, no matter what, to something that you paid for. What PlayStation is doing is completely removing that. They will control if you do or don't have access to things you paid for. They will control until when you have access. And they can take it away from you for any reason. You own nothing. And I don't believe that we should give that money on PC. In many cases, even with games that launch with DRM, are later patched down the line to take out some of that DRM. I can guarantee my access to the game I purchased. I can guarantee that access indefinitely by just putting that game somewhere, letting it live there. No need for anything else. So no, you cannot compare the digital ownership of PC games with the digital ownership of future PlayStation games or even PlayStation games today. Not similar in any way because of
what a battle we've had.
Surrounding them.
This playthrough has been awesome.
Because an executable that I just have on a drive is not the same as an executable that depends on PlayStation allowing me to access it through their own accounts. Okay, so what about physical media? Do we need physical media then? So many people are happy with the sense of ownership that we have on PC. Doesn't it make sense then to take away discs? Well, no, not when a platform holder holds all the power. In the case of PC, that open market and the open nature of PCs means that we can circumvent a lot of the problems of ownership by the very nature of it. But when it comes to a closed platform, something like PlayStation or Nintendo Switch, physical media is very important in order to have ownership rights. Let me present it to you this way. Nintendo has gotten a ton of hate, including from myself, for doing game keycards instead of having the games fully available on the cartridge. Today, a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 games don't actually come on cartridge. All that cartridge does is allow you to connect to the Nintendo servers and download the game. But even a game keycard is considerably better than no physical media at all. Sure, the ideal of something like this, which I just popped out of my Switch 2, this is Donkey Kong Bonanza. It's here. It's always going to be here, to be on this little card. This means that the world could end tomorrow. Nintendo could go bankrupt, all of the servers disappear in a massive accident, and I could still pop this into my console and play it. No internet required. And that is not true for game keycards. Game keycards have to download from a server. But that's still an important distinction. The fact that I own a game keycard means that I have something of actual value. That game keycard isn't tied to my Nintendo account, like what Xbox wanted to do with the Xbox One. I can take a game keycard and give it to a friend, and he can pop it into the Switch, download the game, and play it. I can resell that game in whatever way I want to whatever service or company. And sure, one day in the future, inevitably, the servers will be down. We know this as a track record with Nintendo, and we will not be able to download the games that came on a game keycard, probably, 15, 20 years in the future. But that game keycard still serves as proof of ownership, which is something very important. In many countries around the world, emulation is considered illegal as long as you own the hardware, you own the software. And a game keycard still constitutes proof of ownership, meaning that you could legally emulate the games that you have on game keycards, and nobody can tell you anything. Meanwhile, on the PlayStation 6 side of things, you buying the digital revocable license that PlayStation is selling you does not give you any proof of ownership. And if PlayStation were to take away those games, make them disappear, and say that they still own them, you could not emulate them, and they would be free to legally pursue you, take down a video of you, ban you, whatever thing they would like to do legally against you. Because you legally do not own the game. You own the license that they took away with the rights that they've had, so you do not play the game in any way. But not when you have physical media.
Yeah, they gotta fix the digital buying of games. Seriously, when you buy a digital game, you should have actual full ownership of it. There should be a way to transfer the license to people and resell. There should be a way to always have the game playable offline.
Especially if we're
in the future. That they need to fix that part of it, for sure.
Ways of storing them are just not convenient. Even if that does, go up against certain issues with stuff like data cache and internet access. If it's just not viable to have games come on physical media, the idea of a physical key that gives you access to it is still a way to circumvent a lot of the problems with digital rights and ownership. Because by having a physical key, you have proof of ownership, and that gives you, as a customer, a ton of rights that disappear as soon as everything is digital. Obviously, the other big problem is the walled garden. And you see, not only can I resell my Nintendo Switch 2 game key cards, but I can buy them from wherever I want. And very often, especially today, as the prices of things are completely out of control, I will find deals on games from competing retailers. At the moment, despite the fact that Nintendo, well, they say they made the digital games cheaper, what they actually did was raise the price of the physical. So a lot of upcoming games for Nintendo are $17 digital and $80 physical. So you have to
That's wrong.
Physical benefit, but because retailers want to compete.
He just said it. No, not a lot of games are 70 physical and 80 digital for Nintendo. Physical games are not $10 more, digital's $10 less. I disagree with him on that.
Not to mention that I did applaud it.
There's only one game this year, Fire Emblem, that's 80. And Mario Kart last year, that's it.
That is miles better than what their competition is doing in console space. But my point here is that since it's not looking likely that we will have important political reform regarding customers.
In fact, a lot of times Nintendo is selling games at 60 physical, 50 digital, so.
Is to at least offer physical.
The digital's $10 cheaper.
Piece of paper that you put into the stupid PlayStation Store. No, something that you insert into a machine, and the machine reads what they scan or whatever you want, and confirms that you own this title, and it automatically, without needing any other validation, downloads that to the console and allows you to play it. There's a lot of benefits to that system. Anyways, for as much as we dislike the changes, the game keycard system is way more forward-thinking and customer-centric than just taking it all like PlayStation is doing. A premature thing that we are just not legally prepared for. But as I was mentioning, with price competitions, there will be none. Price will be dictated by PlayStation. Developers and publishers will have them to put their games on sale to make their price to drive the acquisition of products. And they will make money by charging publishers on PlayStation. It will make a lot of money by controlling the to end compared to having the choice of going to whatever retailer you prefer in order to buy a game. Even if that game were to come on physical media, like a game key card that doesn't actually hold the game, it's still important for that competition to expand. That competition, that resale market, that ability to lend games to people is more important today than it has ever been. The general economy is not okay. A lot of people are struggling. A lot of people can't make ends meet. A lot of people and for a lot of people, video games are the lot. The ability for the things that you buy to have value and for you to be able to resell them or buy them used at a discount, to lend them to a friend in order for you to maybe even potentially buy a game among friends to split the cost and then all of you play it at different terms. These solutions to economic problems that have always been there don't suddenly disappear just because PlayStation says that they want it to be all digital. People are struggling, but they still deserve to be happy and to play games. We as humans have a right to be happy, brother, and if to be happy we play video games, if that's the poison we choose to escape sometimes the horrible parts of life, we should get to do that on our own terms and in a way that fits our budgets. That's why these options have always been there. When I was a kid, my family was not wealthy. We were not doing well financially. Not as bad as we've had it later on, but definitely not doing well either. But ever since I was a kid, my cousins gave me their hand-me-down consoles and gaming. I don't remember a point in my life where I wasn't playing video games. From the point of where I have memory, I have owned a Sega Genesis cousin game. Not just a Sega Genesis, but a stack of physical games. From there, new consoles came out, new game generations happened. I was there. And their games, like the 64, I would get a PS1, a huge binder of pirated games, and this sparked me to explore video games. This was, to me, I realize now, an embarrassment rich thanks to the generosity of my cousins. From hand-me-down cartridges to the I had probably hundreds of games, and I would spend evenings after school looking through that PS1 player, looking at games that were mislabeled then, diving headfirst into crazy RPGs that I didn't know what I was using. And because of that, it sparked this love of video game form that has never and I would not be here talking to you about customer rights and the importance of physical media if it hadn't been there. And I don't want that to disappear for the next generation. In Christmas of 2028, I don't want to give my niece a video game by having her turn on her PlayStation 5 and loading up my credit card downloads. I want her to unwrap an actual box and be excited. If I ever have kids one day, they'll be able to play hundreds of games that I've collected that I care for. And despite PlayStation saying that this is over with, that we don't have access to these things anymore, I refuse to live in a world where my grandchildren don't get to do that with my children's games. Because I'm sick and tired of corporations treating something that matters artistically, culturally, emotionally to people like business. To the point that even down to the most basic economic fundamentals of ownership, to the rights that we have as customers, they are throwing it away in order to maximize their profits. Somebody in the comments of my last video called me out and said, when was the last time that I bought a physical copy? Well, bananas, one. But here's Ghost of Yotei. If PlayStation would have put out more games, I would buy them physically, because I don't buy console games. So you know I'm a gamer. Thanks for months in here. I care about my physical game. I care about my limited edition for Fire Emblem Fates because it's the only way to own on a physical cartridge all three of the games. This Revelation otherwise was released only digitally as DLC, not if you own this version. Here is a brand new single copy of No Man's Sky 1.0 on PS4. This is from Reservation. Here's the GTAs. I can play them. You can't stop me. I own them. And just like that, I own hundreds of games that I have carefully, meticulously set up around my house, organized in alphabetical order, because I care about it. And it's not wrong for me to care. We are allowed to care for the things that are important. We are allowed to want things and to be opposed when things we want disappear. So to me, this is very simple. We as customers have to demand right now digital ownership rights, change in legislation that clearly indicates what we own and what we don't own, and that pressures companies like PlayStation to rewrite what it means to sell a license and to make it revocable or revocable. And since that's very unlikely to happen, we demand some sort of physical alternative. I'm not saying we need a disc with the game fully loaded in at this point. I understand that at this point that ship might have sailed. That ship might have sailed already with video games that don't even come playable on the disc because they can't function the day we're with that little notice of like online connection required to make them work. I get it. We've been there for a while, but the existence of physical media still serves as proof of authorship. Right? I get the case with some of you jump up. And it's customer play. The moment that you take that away, eliminate all competition, and force everything to be digital, we as customers are completely screwed, and we should not take it. So all of this going
We're not gonna take it.
People speculating on
We're not gonna take it. I'm not buying a PS6. Fuck 'em.
How about it? I want this discourse.
I even have an all digital PS5, but I'm more bitchy about the price.
That if they do not change something, we should all leave to the competition. I don't care who you choose. Oh, the PC's all digital. No, the chapter's down below. You can rewind. You can understand that if you want. All right. If you don't want to, I mean, just fine. Be a PlayStation bootlegger. I'm not going to change your mind. But go elsewhere. Anywhere else that gives you what you want. Take a hard stance on things. And my commitment to this is very simple. I will cover PlayStation games as long as they release the physical. The moment that stops, I will not. The moment that stops, so do I. If none of this changes, then hopefully, thanks to you, this channel is still around with me talking about games and reviewing video games come 2028. I will not buy a PlayStation 6, and I will not cover anything on it. I'll cover the news and talk trash about it and continue to fight it until it physically. I will not be buying a PlayStation 6. It's that simple. I'll keep championing PC games and indie games as long as Nintendo offers me physical media, and as long as Xbox, whatever that dumpster fire is, with their ideas of digitizing your physical games or whatever, as long as they give me constant ownership, I will cover that as well. Which I mean, it seems kind of inevitable because they're just making a PC. But PlayStation will be dead to me. And I say this as a person that easily owns over 200 physical PS4 games. But I'm done. I'm done with their bullshit. I'm done with them skewing the numbers of how many people play digital in order to make it look like this is the logical decision. Of them ignoring the fact that it's not a fair fight when you don't compare between the physical soul and digital soul of the same game. They're just comparing the total digital, which includes games that were never sold. They don't separate that between live service games and single-player story. All they want is to justify a move that is way too aggressive and that needs to be punished by a complete shift. Don't let go of the things you care about. Don't let go of believing. It's okay to want to own things. Don't let them tell you. And to me, this is very simple. I'm going to choose to own my games no matter what. So I've been Huck. Thank you so much for watching, and if this video was helpful, if it does serve some
Man, what a fight this is. This is fucking incredible, dude. This fight's fucking incredible. Give me a sec. Whoa. Let's see. What do we got going on here? Guess we could do this news story.
Cheaper in a lot of cases than you see as part of our world, so it can very well be that but why does it matter? Well, there's different ways to look at this. You could look at it and say, well, it's cheaper prices are good for them. You know, you want these cheaper prices, especially for rebates.
Holy shit!
A second remake of this game. I want it to be more ambitious. $60.
What the fuck?
It's like Star Fox, where it looks really, really good, and it has a couple of updates like cutscenes and stuff. But for the most part, it is a one-to-one exact copy of the original remade. Now we've been talking a lot about the game and things that they can add, like adding new locations, build, and yes, eventually even adding a dungeon like light once cut from this game. At least I think this game does come out at around $60. This is going to be a way to start. And don't kill me, I'm all about cheaper gaming, but I kind of I think that would kind of be a testament to how ambitious this game is. For a price of $80, that's already from this part of our world on and then we're going to be working Weave coming up soon. Yeah, that's but I think this was a good thing to see. I've seen a lot of people fear-mongering online saying, oh no, this is $60, it is going to be an exact one remake, and a lot of people were upset about that. And myself, I just feel kind of bummed because I saw the chance of this thing just being, you know, some fix-ups and stuff, and probably still going to be $80. It's just hard to say right now. We really need to talk about this thing. This is way too much of it. But I think this is a good thing to happen so we can set expectations. Because, yeah, my expectations aren't good. I'm not expecting it
kind of reimagine this game, but I'm still expecting a lot. I mean, this is Nintendo's big holiday games, and also 40th anniversary celebration, and the second time they made Ocarina of Time.
No, I'm telling you, this game is not Nintendo's big holiday game. It's a game. It's just Ocarina of Time remade. Their big game is Fire Emblem.
All battles, mini games and stuff. So I'm expecting something to a similar degree, if not really more of this. And at least it's different than Star Fox. Star Fox 64 has really good gameplay that still ages really well today. All they had to do was clean up the graphics, add a couple of cutscenes, missions, just have a story, and that's really all they had to do. For Ocarina of Time, it's still a very good game, even today. I think it holds up. But there's a lot of things that just seem a little sloppy. They don't take a whole lot of fighting and stuff, like getting ice arrows from the ground just feels strange and pointless. Over half the walls are really big, just to get absolutely big walls or various. Like if I was building for a bomb, it's done without quite more, but maybe that's insane if it had been. And if I will build a building really a lot of staying out there, that's also not a game for itself. It's been a game which kind of is going to fall victim to the same complaints that address my board game. Thank you, brother. Which really took time, even when it was remade on the NES, it's going to be very efficient. Especially if they go really hyper-realistic repetition. They've got to do something out there. And I think all those things are I know a lot of people are going to say Nintendo didn't ask for but just expect a one-to-one remake, but I'm expecting this, even if it's not going to happen, this is something that we should follow. At least they have targeted on it again, another remake. This would be the time that actually makes this ambitious, but all the version of this game wasn't able to happen. Or unexcepted, nice, light, plan that just couldn't happen, probably because of one of the games. So this is the time to finally make an alternate version of Ocarina of Time to get all it might be a bit bummed if there isn't anything like a new double added of course. But with my type of the game, not. As long as there's other areas like fall battles, high fails, things, stuff, then I am perfectly fine. But this is a fun thing of changes in my identity. Decided I wrote in a little bit. And once again, I took different decisions. This is once again the big holiday title of the year. This is like the biggest release that had since like Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza over a year ago. So this has to be something special for me. This just falls the Star Fox path. And again,
what the fuck?
Exact same way with new graphics. It's just not gonna
what the actual fuck?
But let's be honest, they could add a bunch of new stuff, and there's still going to be a lot of people complaining that it's not one remake. So, there's going to be a side that's happening.
This horseshit!
But since this is a Zelda project, I have faith in the team working this game. The Zelda team has literally only let me down one time. So, the rest of the folks who really like the game, it's kind of let down. But besides that, they are normally absolutely. This is going to be one of the first times we see a remake of this division. So we'll see what the heck Nintendo can do to keep it. I'm just praying that the reveal things bigger, hopefully by August, so that way finally start talking about what's happening in the show and actually start making some good educated guesses based on what we see. It's only a matter of time. But let me know in the comments down below. It's $80, $60, and one-to-one.
Fucking horseshit.
Reimagining, remake.
Hold on. Figure out. Think about what I need to do to.
an all-time focus. I look around quickly, and backlash, or what's happening here, production starts to generate being admitted. Won't tell me. I mean, it's actually growing every day, where anything outside of
Alright, what the fuck now? Oh.
About millions and millions of impressions on some of the ground, and now we've been different government bodies represent all the information. So, people are wondering if somebody's going to backtrack on all this. Well, we're going to go over that because this, I can get an all-time look for Sony and see some craziness happen in the PlayStation history. Nothing like it. Go over that if we're going to do a video. Like, but now we're going to start breaking.
No! Get away from me!
A lot of people just frustrated at the idea of for the PS5.
That's fucking bullshit! That's fucking bullshit!
You only have a disk drive. That's a great question, because if you don't have any way to put your current library of titles to PS5 and PS4 into collapse, I mean, decades plus, then you may be less likely to follow Sony's connection to the PS5.
His health nearly dead! I'm all the way away from him! Freaking full fucking health! And I get wiped!
Well, they've already apparently started up plans for your main manufacturing distribution. They're saying that the Austrian outlets of Austria is what's around the edge of the disc, or like the upper side of it, and you look to find where I think most of this they can take off the shelf and look at, we're going to say they find one that's less likely now to be I looked at the guy in black, that building, it's fine. And that actually says the so those are also out there floating around, but I'd say them.
Oh, okay, I needed to get in the bubble.
Are optical micro lenses, and they say this is seems to be linked even to AI. That's being brought up. So I don't know if that's necessarily the case here, but some are kind of making that connection. They're like, what else does AI need? In this case of Sony, it seems like they could plan this for a big and I'm sure they were expecting some kind of that they haven't said anything on their main account since they posted about the physical media going away post-January 2028. And they took that before us and they took a radio silent on the accounts. Hopefully that it kind of blows over and then forget about it and move on to the next thing, which is actually facts. Things happen constantly and that's very bad news. So and I say that because everything, the backlash is, I've ever seen. It says something on the tweet they put out there, their blog post, has way more comments than should be there, more likes, obviously, for expressing their thing, and I think, beyond that, it's a gamer part. They can back that detail with things really clever that they did. at Microsoft instead, Microsoft going to the whole thing for they were trying to make games. So, do? Well, it got to the point where they went back to this instructional video. And if you look at the comment, it's very close of them. Thank you, brother. Yourself for there in country. Upload from that, get games to share, open like this. This goes on and on and on. Back to you, remembering, kind of like Sony, and wanted to go back and get kind of dump on Sony. So, I'm telling you, this is different. Sony respect. I don't respect given this degree. And so I mentioned some representative regulatory bodies kind of doing this now, and I think this would be something for Sony that applies into the side, where you do have area lawsuits that Sony can all the time about things or monopolies closing. Sony's funneling everyone to that store because they control the pricing there outright.
Oh, what a fight!
Is a way that Sony has been able to go, well, look, we have these games. We don't control everything. There is at least some options out there.
What a fight!
For customers. But that, if you start to run out of things you can point to kind of explain away what is becoming a fundamental there. They control the price. Well, with third parties, people want to run sales and stuff, but the point is, they do remove store buying power outright. Even if you were to take a digital only gamer, like just buy games on the digital store, just the idea, the existence of physical media does not play into the competitive nature of a digital versus physical. This is drinking like that. It just gives more options. Where if you don't really use the describe setting on your PS5, there is still that looping idea of, oh, maybe if I put a small game or a friend has game and they can lend it to yourself to be cheap, I am able to do that rather than go to the PlayStation Store and spend $60, $70 because they let us go.
Stronger than this. Come on, Ifrit. Show us your true power.
We're watching the Remnant Radio.
So my name is Nathan Finn, and I am by training an historical and systematic theologian. But I've written far more about church history than I have theology, and have really focused most of my ministry on the history, theology, spirituality. That is my tradition, and so I'm very interested in that as kind of a living.
Wait, the fight still goes on! The fight continues!
I'm a Baptist tradition as a scholar, so I'm always trying to navigate those two things. I teach at North Springfield University, where I serve as the provost and dean of the university faculty. So I'm a fully academic at North Springfield. Previously, with the Union University as an academic dean, and for about 8 years on faculty at Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary. I've been married to Leah for 20 years. we are the parents of 4 children, Georgia, Baxter, Eleanor, and Ford. Call those the Finlings. The power of social media in the 21st century. I've been calling my kids Finlings for years. I have literally been to countries where I met missionaries for the first time who've asked me how are the Finlings doing. Because they check Twitter or Facebook. But what I'm doing right now, for the most part, is working on a theology series with my friends David Dockery and Chris Morgan. 16-volume systematic theology series that we're the editors of that series, and in that series I'm going to be co-authoring the volume on the doctrine.
How is this not the final boss fight?
Life, ethics, sanctification, the big guy who's been interested in a lot of stuff as an expert. So that's perfect.
That is literally an exciting. You know a lot about what. Anyway, about a lot. We are discussing the history of the document which component for the body. I have a hard copy of a couple of things in my hand. So, just talking about this book. It's called The Baptist Story. A little bit about the book. I thought it was thorough, but it was not so academic. That was the first thing I thought that was good. I'll tell about the book before I start thinking the brain.
Well, I'm so encouraged to hear you say that about the book. And so, me and my 2 friends, Michael Haken and Tony Shue, worked on that book for several years. And what we really wanted to do was to write a Baptist history textbook that was different than other Baptist textbooks on the market, in that it's actually a textbook written for students. So what's typically happened is somebody who's been teaching for many years, and at the end of the career writes what's kind of a big Christian opus where they bring up everything about Baptist, wonderful resource, and students keep reading it. Yeah. And we put it into it. Like, what's the sort of books that students and pastors would find interesting? And what do they need to know to understand the grand narrative of Baptist history, the major figures, doctrines, and controversies? So that's what we were going for. We were writing for students and for pastors, not for scholars. And on occasion, when scholars have complained about it, what we've said is, hey buddy, this isn't for you. There's lots of other books for you. This is for that master divinity student, or it's for that pastor who took Baptist history 18 years ago and then they learned about it for years. So we're very pleased with how the Lord has used the book as an entryway into the Baptist story for students and pastors.
And I wanted to touch on the things that are into the book. In the top of your picture, you talk about like, hey, what I think, this is what I need, this is what I don't, the different categories of Baptist. You lay that out for us. There's a lot of stuff to do with how to identify with that history. So maybe we can just kind of start to get a finer term what you mean about this. But general overarching sense, you will get it kind of people.
So there's a sense in which Baptists are much broader than people realize, and another sense in which they're much more narrow than people realize. So in the broadest sense of the term, a Baptist is somebody who believes that individuals need personal saving encounter with Jesus Christ. And sometime after that, hopefully not too long after that, they testify to that publicly through baptism by immersion. Believers baptized by immersion, they become a part of a church that is of other believers who have been baptized, and then they live out their faith in a community that holds to some form of congregationalism where every member has a voice and kind of a vision of the church, and the church is autonomous from other churches. They're sort of free to follow Christ and do whatever they feel like the Lord is leading them to do with open scriptures and callous knees. Theologically, that's Baptist. Now, what we would say is more narrowly, there are obviously billions of Christians who that would describe who would never call themselves Baptist, especially in a post-conflict world, where the average non-denominational church is Baptist, but embarrassed about it. So we would want to add that that a Baptist would be somebody who holds those sorts of views and they self-identify as a Baptist. It doesn't mean that the church is Baptist on the name, but it means they understand they're a Baptist type of Christian as opposed to a Presbyterian type of Christian or an Episcopal type of Christian or a Catholic type of Christian or a Pentecostal type of Christian. So there's going to be some sort of self-identification there where they recognize they are part of this stream in church history that has been called Baptist.
And that's helpful because, when you said, like, hey, this actually describes most of evangelicalism in general. And it's very large now, it's like, hey, autonomous churches, governed by our country, not just freedom Baptists. What many of us see is Western intellectual spiritual law that kind of Baptist. Start contracts and bounce out. All these kinds of freedom Baptists.
Gosh, dang, man. Whoa.
Baptized, but it's a very different position. Can you tell us the emergence of the Baptist position, what made it so different in the contrast of history of this?
So there's a sense in which Baptists are another sense in which Baptists are.
Does he actually beat this time?
So Baptists are very ancient in that if we go back all the way to the New Testament era and to the centuries right after the New Testament era, the default was believers' baptism. Now, I would argue as a Baptist that it was believers' baptism only. But even if, for the sake of argument, I'm wrong about that, even our Paedo-Baptist friends would agree that the default was the baptism of new believers in the New Testament in the earliest centuries. And what happens is, by the time we get to really about 500, that default has been replaced by the default being the baptism of infants who were born into Christian families. They still believe in believers' baptism. When there's an adult convert, they're going to baptize them as a new convert. But the default has been raising children in Christian homes and baptizing them as babies. And that's going to remain the default for about 1,000 years. And then during the time of the Reformation, you have the Anabaptists who come about, and they're going to sort of return to that more ancient practice of a confessor-type baptism of new believers in Christ, or at the very least, after you become a believer in Christ, about 100 years after the Anabaptist movement, you have the rise of the capital B Baptist movement, and similarly to the Anabaptists, that's going to be a Credo-Baptist tradition that says that belief comes before baptism, which is the beginning of belonging to a local body of Christ. And so now, again, a Baptist position is very common, even among people who have no idea that they're Baptist. And so in that sense, it's relatively new, and it's this sort of great success story in denominational traditions. But every good Baptist who's worth their salt would say that really Baptists, even though it's a newer movement in Christian history, we are returning to that ancient practice of the normative practice, and I would even go so far as to say the exclusive practice, but at the very least the normative practice is credo baptism, that we baptize somebody as their public profession of faith, rather than baptizing the infant children of believers.
Okay, so just to put legs on this, we tossed around a lot of theological words, and I realized I didn't leave a rubric for our discussion today of what are the glossary of terms that we're using. Paedo-baptism is the baptism of children. Credo baptism is the baptism of believers, people who believe.
It's just the baptism of infants, in particular, very small children.
Yes, infants and being non-professing children. Right. I apologize. And then, so Credo Baptist be like we talk about the creeds and the confessions. The creeds are basically rival statements. So Credo Baptist is a person who's like waiting for a statement of faith. They're waiting for a profession before they're willing to baptize a new believer. And then your other option that I just kind of talked about briefly would be like regenerative baptism. And then baptism actually saves you in some way. Anyway, so as we're moving on through this, you mentioned just now Anabaptists, and there's a very strong, depending on who you're talking to, man, the Baptist movement came out of the Anabaptist movement. Others are going to say, hey, the Baptists came out of the Puritans.
can you settle this debate a little bit for us on where did the Baptist movement come from? Where were these early emergings? Like, where did they get their source material from? Yeah. So the Baptist movement.
Dude, this one chapter is going to take the entire playthrough before we get to the next soccer game.
Embrace believers baptism by immersion. So there's really not gobs of debate over where the Baptists came from. The bigger question is, what sort of continuity is there with the Anabaptists, even though the Baptists came out of the Puritan movement? And the reality is it's continuity and discontinuity. It is discontinuity in that it's not the same movement. They don't agree all the same things that the Anabaptists agree with, and so very few of those early Baptists were pacifists who didn't believe in taking oaths, who were opposed to Christians serving in government, who, that they just weren't Anabaptists. On the other hand, there's no doubt that they were reading the same passages in Scripture and coming to those Credo-Baptist conclusions. So there's definitely some theological affinity when it comes to defining who the church is and how one enters into the Christian life and enters into the church. And so the best way to think about this is the Puritans gave birth to the Baptists, and the Anabaptists are cousins in some way. Theologically, but Anabaptists and Baptists are not the same movement. They're parallel movements in what we might call the broader free church tradition, which would affirm that you have to believe before you belong in the local church.
Okay, so in addition to that, we have there's another distinction happening really early on. We talked about the
Focus all efforts on extinguishing the fires around the capital.
Puritans, were they responsible for both General Baptist and Particular Baptist? Okay, so from the Puritans come both of these movements. You define both those movements and maybe contrast them so people who have heard those
Dion.
Yeah, absolutely. So the General Baptists were actually the earliest capital B Baptists, and they were radical Puritans who around the same time they were embracing what we would now call Baptist views. They were also embracing views very similar to Arminianism. Now, it would be a little anachronistic to say they were Arminians because it was literally happening at the same time that Arminius was kind of being defined, if you will, as Arminianism. But they were certainly Arminian-like views, most notably the idea that Jesus died for all people in exactly the same way. About a generation later, you have another group of radical Puritans who become Baptists, but they don't break with the Calvinist majority tradition among the Puritans. They continue to hold to traditional Calvinism. Now, to be fair, it's a little bit anachronistic to call them particular Baptists because some of them were what we might say called four-point Calvinists. But the majority of them would have been what we would now call five-point Calvinists. And they certainly would have seen themselves as being Calvinistic, as opposed to the General Baptists that would have seen themselves as being Arminian-like. And the two groups kind of grew up together, and they were of similar size for the first couple of generations until one begins to overtake the other, but that's another part of the story.
Yeah, so this idea of four-point Calvinism, again, points out kind of foundation for watching total gravity, unconditional election, limited atonement, irresistible grace, perseverance in the cities. That's the kind of 5 points of Calvinism. Though Calvin's teachings are much more broad and backs the 5 specific points. The typical 4-point Calvinist is an Alvaraldian The idea is that they don't hold to that Christ died and all of their homes. So typical 4-point Calvinists, again, just to flesh out, to get some theology and people who are new to some of this as we're walking through this. So you have these General Baptists and these Particular Baptists, particular in that that seems interesting that they're all particular because the assumption is that they believe that Christ has died for particular people, but you're saying, no, that is actually kind of a pejorative way of speaking of them because they didn't all hold to that. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. But what they did is that they adopted a statement of faith called the 1644 London Confession. It did affirm particular redemption, and so again, a majority of them believed that Jesus died especially for the elect, those who he had chosen to be saved from before the foundation of the world. Most of them believe that, and so for that reason, the particular Baptist label is what's stuck. But what most scholars see now is that there was actually a lot of fluidity between those groups in the first generation. Lots of people kind of moving back and forth between the general and particular Baptist traditions, and that shouldn't surprise us. This was the era, a couple of generations, that people are reading the Bible in the vernacular for the first time, and they wrestle with those questions about predestination and who did Jesus die for, and sincere Christians lose their faith, just like evangelicals wrestle with those things today. So there was a lot of movement between those two different groups, but there were still two clear trajectories, one that was more Calvinistic and one that was more Arminian.
How friendly were they to one another? I mean, I think you wrote in the book, like in 1660, there was 130 particular Baptists, like 118 particular Baptist churches, independent churches. Like, were they a lot of cross-pollination? Were they friendly with one another, or were they pretty resistant to each other early on?
How he doted on his children.
It was complicated, so they definitely recognized each other as Baptists. There were, in some places, some fraternal relations between the two, but it was also the case that the General Baptists often networked with the Anabaptists who were in the neighborhood because they agreed on some of the basics of salvation. And the particular Baptist networked with some of the Puritans in the neighborhood because they had a very similar view of salvation. So there definitely was a mutual respect and appreciation between the General and the particular Baptists for that first generation. But what's going to happen is, after the time of the English Civil War, the particular Baptist movement is just going to explode, and it's going to become the majority movement. The General Baptist movement is going to embrace some heretical ideas about the deity of Christ and the nature of the atonement. So they're going to shrink out to the point where they almost die. And so by the time we get in the 1700s, the overwhelming majority of Baptists in England are going to be Calvinistic, and it's going to be just a small minority report that are Arminian.
Okay, so, but around the same time, we're having development here in the States, right? First colonies are being settled early 1600s. There's some American Baptists that seem oddly similar but different in some other ways than our European brothers overseas. The formation here takes place doesn't take place a little bit differently, but it does evolve because of the Great Awakenings differently. Can you maybe speak into the role of the Great Awakening and how that formed the Baptist stance?
Yeah, so there were Baptists in America for about 150 years before the Awakening came to the Baptists. And so this were there. The majority of them were Calvinistic. There was a minority that was Arminian among the Baptists. But what happens is, in kind of the last stage of what we now call the First Great Awakening, really in the 1770s, in the 1750s, the Great Awakening really comes to the Baptist churches, and you have some Baptists that had already been there who embraced the revival. We call them the regular Baptists. They were regular, they meant like normal. They had already been there. And then you have the separate Baptists, and the separate Baptists really come out of the Congregationalist Presbyterians in New England who experience revival, and then they go Baptist. And they are even more pro-revival than the regular Baptists. And so the separate Baptists are kind of an indigenous North American Baptist group. And those two groups, the separate Baptists that are birthed out of the revival and the regular Baptists that date back to the colonial era, it's really out of the mix of those two groups that we get the modern denominations like what's now the American Baptist churches in the USA and the Southern Baptist Convention, predominantly in the South. Those are the two movements that kind of...
I need to get to a save point.
So those modern Baptist denominations in America.
Gotcha.
And that of others. Then we shall set you apart once more. The ties that bind you shall be severed, and humanity return to its proper place. By primogenesis shall a new age of reason begin.
majesty. Don't you want to play? It's been a long time.
If that is your wish.
Men, you are as meek as all the others.
Such feeble creatures. Gifted the power of icons, yet slaves to fickle emotions which usher you to your doom. And so you bind your fragile wills with strands of consciousness. The wretched handiwork of a wretched people.
The Sons of Fire were united at last, and for but a moment their flame burned bright. Soon Muthos shall become our perfect vessel.
And then shall the world be remade.
Not before the bonds are severed, of trust, of respect, of love. Only when every strand of consciousness is cut away, may Muthos return to our side. By primogenesis shall all be undone. Mankind shall be rid of his wretchedness, and Muthos of his will. But while he yet clings to it, he has the power to forge bonds anew. And so we bid you, find Muthos, and sever everyone.
To destroy that which has no physical form. You ask the impossible.
There is nothing your black blade cannot cut, Odin. We shall unite with Muthos, and bring forth a new world. So long as our vessel remains unclaimed by humanity.
It shall be done, Master. My will is yours.
Damn, son. Holy shit, we done? Can we save? I mean, this is incredible, but come on now. I got a soccer game to see in about 10 minutes. We ain't done, is we?
How is your brother?
Asleep since I returned from the Dominion. Talia says he should be back on his feet soon enough. For a while, at least. She discovered something on his chest. A swelling, circled in stone.
The curse. For every mountain we climb, another rises up to greet us, doesn't it?
It's never ending. Even the sky seems to have grown tired of it all. Tony won't be happy if I disturb Joshua. Well,
All right, we did it.
Might as well see what Otto has to say.
I'm going to save up, and then we're going to get to the soccer live stream here shortly. Thank you all for watching. Yeah, we'll worry about all that. We'll worry about all those ability points and all that next time. I'll see y'all later.